He chased happiness until he lost everything. Heartbreaking motivational story. Armand had everything most people dream about. A successful business, a beautiful house in the center of the city, a loving wife, and a little daughter who waited for him every evening at the door. From the outside, his life looked perfect, but inside, Armand felt restless. He believed happiness was something bigger, something more, something that was still missing. Every morning he woke up with a quiet dissatisfaction. His company was doing well, but he wanted it to dominate the market. His house was comfortable, but he wanted a mansion. His car was new, but he wanted the latest model. He told himself he was doing it for his family. He said, just a few more years of hard work, then we will truly be happy. His wife, Sarah, would sometimes sit beside him at dinner and say softly, "We are already happy. You don't need to run so fast." But Armand would smile and reply, "You don't understand. I'm building a better future for us." Slowly, the dinners became shorter. The family walks disappeared. Bedtime stories turned into quick goodnight kisses. Armand's phone was always in his hand. Even when he was home, he wasn't really there. He began chasing bigger deals, riskier investments. He entered partnerships without thinking twice. The thrill of growth felt like happiness to him. Every new contract gave him a rush. Every financial milestone felt like proof that he was getting closer to the life he wanted. But the closer he thought he was to happiness, the further he drifted from his family. His daughter stopped waiting at the door. One evening, Armand returned home late again. The house was quiet. He walked into the living room and saw Sarah sitting alone. There was a tiredness in her eyes he had never noticed before. "We need to talk," she said. He sighed. "Can it wait? I have an early meeting tomorrow." "No," she whispered. "It can't." She told him how lonely she felt, how their daughter had asked why Daddy loved his office more than her, how she missed the man who used to laugh at small things and sit on the floor to play with their child. Armand felt irritated instead of concerned. "I'm doing this for you, for her. Don't you see that?" Sarah shook her head. "We don't need more money. We need you." But Armand couldn't hear it. In his mind, stopping meant failure. Slowing down meant losing the race everyone else was running. Weeks turned into months. Armand invested a huge portion of his savings into a high-risk project that promised massive returns. His partners convinced him it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He imagined headlines, awards, and a life of ultimate comfort. He didn't imagine what would happen if it failed. The market shifted unexpectedly. The project collapsed. Investors panicked. Within a few months, Armand's company was drowning in debt. Lawsuits followed. The same partners who once praised his ambition disappeared. The bank called. His accounts were frozen. The mansion he planned to buy became meaningless. Even the house he already owned was at risk. For the first time in years, Armand sat alone in silence. No phone calls, no meetings, no applause, just the heavy sound of his own breathing. He went home earlier than usual that day, but instead of warmth, he found suitcases near the door. Sarah stood there, calm but distant. "I can't do this anymore," she said. "We tried, I tried, but you were never really here." Her daughter hugged her teddy bear, looking confused and scared. Armand's heart broke. "Please, I'll fix everything, I promise." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "We didn't need everything fixed. We needed you to stop chasing everything." That night, the house felt emptier than ever, not because of the financial loss, but because of the silence left behind by the people he loved most. Days turned dark. Armand sold his car, then the house. He moved into a small apartment on the edge of the city. His once busy phone barely rang. For the first time, he had nothing to chase. At first, the emptiness felt unbearable. He had defined himself by success for so long that without it, he didn't know who he was. He avoided mirrors. He avoided old friends. Shame followed him everywhere. One afternoon, while walking through a park to clear his mind, he saw a father sitting on the grass, laughing with his daughter.
They were building a small sand castle, completely absorbed in the moment. The father didn't look rich. His clothes were simple, his shoes worn out, but the joy on his face was real. Armand stood still. He remembered the times his own daughter had asked him to play, the times he said, "Not now," the times he promised, "Later." Later had never come. Tears filled his eyes. For the first time, he understood something painful but powerful. He had been chasing happiness as if it were a destination far ahead, not realizing it had been walking beside him all along. Happiness wasn't in bigger numbers, it wasn't in applause, it wasn't in proving himself to the world. It was in small hands holding his finger. It was in quiet dinners. It was in being present. Armand began to change, not because he wanted success again, but because he wanted meaning. He found a modest job. It didn't pay much, but it paid enough. He learned to live simply. He started reading, reflecting, and rebuilding himself from within. Most importantly, he tried to rebuild his relationship with his family. At first, Sarah was distant. Trust, once broken, is not easily repaired. But Armand didn't push. He showed up, on time, consistently. He attended school events. He listened more than he spoke. He put his phone away. Months passed. One evening, as he walked his daughter back home after spending the day together, she slipped her small hand into his and said, "Daddy, I like you better now." Those simple words meant more than any business award ever could. Armand smiled, but there were tears in his eyes. He had lost almost everything he once valued, the money, the status, the image, but in losing it, he had found something far greater. He had found clarity. He realized that chasing happiness blindly can cost you the very things that create it. Ambition is not wrong, dreams are not wrong, but when the pursuit of more makes you blind to what you already have, it becomes a silent thief. Years later, Armand would share his story with young entrepreneurs. He would tell them, "Success without balance is a beautiful disaster. Don't wait until you lose everything to understand what truly matters." His life was simpler now, smaller house, smaller income, fewer luxuries, but his heart was fuller. Every evening when he returned home, his daughter waited at the door again, and this time he was truly there. He had chased happiness until he lost everything. Only then did he realize that happiness was never something to chase. It was something to protect.